Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and this week I was going to feature another one of my Mopars, and recent build for me, which is kind of ironic to think it's a recent build for me because I finished this in 2018, but I've had this kit a very long time. So this is the Sox Martin Superbird. It's the Johan kit, and I've had it, like I said, I've had it a very long time, and I was actually intimidated building this thing because I bought it pretty much as a teenager before I had my driver's license. So getting into that part of the story, I literally, we're talking late 80s, probably 87, 88, maybe 89, somewhere right around there. I rode my bicycle. I had a paper route, and that's how I was making my money. And I rode my bicycle to the hobby store, which was at Valley West Mall. I believe it was Hobby Bench in there. And they had some of these Johan kits, and I picked this one up. This was one of the ones I picked up. I also picked up the 71 Cuda and the 64 Dodge Superstock car. So I picked all three of them up, and not at the same trip. It was actually like different trips. I remember buying two at one time. I think I bought both the Sox and Martins, and then when I went back, they still had the Superstock car, and I bought that one in a different trip, like a different week. It was a 5-mile ride on my bicycle, but I went down, rode, and picked them up. And this one had intimidated me. It was mostly the paint jobs, because this one didn't have anything for the decals, really, not much for the decals. And even the Cuda, I had started the Cuda, painted the engine, and I had done some work to that, and I lost a part or two and broke a wheel. And this one I had kept, and I never really started. I remember gluing the nose on, gluing the wing on, and then being intimidated by the paint, and I ended up just saving it. And then I'd see people asking money for them, and I didn't want to ruin it either, because, you know, all of a sudden they were worth more money. So I was like, alright, well, I'll just save this one for when I get better. Not realizing that this would be one of the longest kits sitting in my stash. Which is kind of funny to think that the 64 Superstock car is still in my stash. I haven't built that one. But this one I built 2 years ago. But it's been planned, and ideas and thoughts going along with it. Like this hood, this is actually a resin hood. I got it from AFX and Scale, which has long been gone. I understand Wendell is the guy who did it, and every now and then he's up on eBay and he sells a few pieces here and there. But so the hood I bought more than 10 years ago, and it's been sitting in the box with it because I really like this scoop. And trying to research this car, there's not a whole lot of information on it. There's a few photos of it, and I guess it really didn't race much. And whether or not there was actually two of them or one of them, it's hard to say, because the pictures where you see this hood scoop, the 6-pack hood scoop on it, it's got what looks like a black top, but it's hard to tell in the pictures if it's a vinyl top or if it's actually just painted black. But the photos, the top looks black, and it's got this hood on it. And the wheels keep changing, and there's some pictures where the rear bumper is painted red and white, because I've seen some where the rear bumper is painted red and white, and then some with the chrome bumper. And since this one I had the rear bumper re-chromed, because after all these years the chrome had kind of faded and was coming off, I decided I would leave the chrome, but I really liked the blue top. But the car with the blue top had the flat hood. The pictures when you see the blue top, it had the flat hood. So that's where it comes into, was there really two of them? Did Sox and Martin have two of them? Because there's no pictures of two of them side by side. Just one car. So if it migrated from this hood and the roof getting painted black versus, and then the rear bumper getting painted, and then, you know, because race to race they kind of changed, and you would see that when you research some of these race cars, that race to race things changed, sponsor stickers moved, different things changed, so, and race configurations. So on this one I decided I liked this hood. I was going to go with this hood, stay with the chrome bumper, and I was going to go with the blue roof, which, you know, it technically isn't truly correct, but this car Doesn't seem to exist. Nobody knows where it went or whatever happened to it. If there really was only one or two. And what it was actually powered by. Most say it was a Hemi. Pretty sure that's what was in it. And there's some stories on, but Sox and Martin, they kind of use this car and what they actually used it for, or its intended purpose. So some of the stories reading about it, and I don't know if any of these are really true. It's just kind of fun reading the stories. And it's all, you know, only a few people would really know if they remember. But I guess there's some stories where they believe this car had a stroked Hemi in it, that it wasn't exactly class legal. So that they would use the car, race it, take out a few of the competitors, and then lose on purpose so they didn't have to go through teardown inspection. They wouldn't win the whole thing with it. So I really don't know if that's true, but it's fun to read about. And then some of the other stories, like this car, you know, was it really aerodynamically feasible? Was it a good drag car? But I guess compared to how the Cudas did, I guess it was no. But Sox and Martin, they had a lot of cars. Ronnie Sox racing them, and different team members. But I always thought the colors were cool, the model kits were cool. So back then I even thought it was a sharp looking kit, so I bought it and held on to it all these years. But they were not the easiest to build as far as some of these kits go. So on this one, that's all paint. The red is painted, the blue is paint, and the blue stripe is actually paint. And the decals on this are actually Slixx decals. They're not the kit issue decals. I thought they looked a little sharper, so I went with those. But how they work too, if you haven't used them before, this is actually a white stripe. That's a decal. So I would just paint the blue section and then put the white decal on top to give you the pinstripe, which worked out pretty good. And it comes with a ton of them, so doing that's pretty easy. Getting this hood to fit, cleaning it up and making sure it fit, kind of a pain. And even after paint and build up, it came out okay. The hood pins are photo etched. I sanded them off and used those. Plus, being a resin hood, the detail on the hood pins was not that great. And so I decided to put the windows in. Now the car, as seen, has white interior, so I did it with the white interior. From the few photos, you could see the buckets were white. And I just finally enjoyed this one and got it over with. Once I got past the paint hurdle, because masking and doing all this kind of a pain. Once I got past the paint hurdle, I was really happy with the way it came out. So this was a fun build, but it's kind of funny to think how long I've had it and then finally built it. I do have the Richard Petty Superbird also. I haven't had it that long. It's one I picked up many years later. So I probably had that one 5 years or more, but not more than 10 years. But it's in my collection, and I'll build that one too. But I really enjoy these. And I had a guest over recently. It kind of made me laugh because come over and I'm showing him my collection and stash and built models, and he made a comment that I thought was really cool. Was he said, he goes, I have not seen that many Johan kits built, you know, nicely built. You've got a number of them built. And I started looking around, and I haven't done a final count, but just between AMCs and some of these Mopars, easily 16 of them. You've already seen some of the AMXs, and I'll be posting some more of them. But you know, they're kind of quick builds. They look really nice. Here's the underside of this one. And another thing with Sox and Martin, their engines were painted blue. So I know it's a Mopar engine, but apparently they had a whole bunch of leftover Ford blue that they like to use. So for Sox and Martin team, their race Hemis were blue. So I did this one blue as well. And so kind of a piece of trivia. If you see some of the race cars, and you'll see that their engines are painted blue. Some of the restored cars that are out there. Now, but there we go. Get the hood off. I didn't go to town detailing it. I kept it pretty much out of the box. I did change the carbs out, so those are much better carbs. I'll bring them up and zoom in. And since there's no air cleaners and they're exposed, I switched them out. I believe those are Fireball Model Works, and beautiful carbs. So I swapped them out and used that, since there really is no air cleaner on this particular car. And then the hood, I just blacked out the underside and the hood pins, and like, it's kind of a tight fit. But I'm glad to have this one done, and and looking really good on my shelf, and it's a beautiful car, and wish there was more of it. You know, it goes really well with this one. I've already showed you this one. So there's the 71 CUDA, also a Johan kit. I did a video on that already, so you've seen that. And I've got one more actually built. And I've got other Sox Martin builds or kits in my stash. I've got the 70 Revell kit, and I've got the 67 GTX kit also. And I've got the MPC 72 CUDA in my stash. I haven't built that one yet. But so I think I've got pretty much all of the Sox Martin versions that were ever issued. Although I'm not truly a Sox Martin fan, I just think they look great and the color is just awesome. You know, great paint schemes. And I think I have a couple of resin 68 CUDAs, and I think I'll do one of them as a Sox Martin. Or another one I plan to do the black and gray primer, pretty much as they were delivered to the racers right from the factory for the most part. But I got a few more Sox Martin ones to do, but I enjoyed building them, and I think they look really good. So let me know what you think, and I appreciate you guys watching and subscribing and hitting that bell button so you get my latest uploads. And any comments you have. So thank you for viewing, and thanks for everything. You guys, you have a wonderful day.